Hey, all you YouTubers out there in YouTube land, this is your Razkin on the Block, Nick Glenn, and this is my Raw review. And for the most part, I really enjoyed this Raw. I was pleasantly surprised, because this Raw was definitely better than last week's, which isn't saying much, but it definitely was. I really enjoyed this Raw. So we kick off Raw with a really cool video package of all the Raw themes and Titantron videos. It goes from like the old 90s, like 93 to 94 Raw video package theme to both Attitude Era ones, Thorn in Your Side and all those songs from the Attitude Era to the 2003, 2002, 2004 at Aggression Era, and the Papa Roach Wannabe Love theme, and of course the Nickelback one, and to the one we have now. But I thought it was really cool. It's a different way to open up Raw. But we kick off Raw with Vinnie Mac coming out, and he announces that there will be a steel cage match between Dolph Ziggler and John Cena. And also, there will be a rock concert as well, which, once that was announced, I was looking forward to that, because, normally the rock concerts are a very entertaining segment. It gives Rock a chance to be very funny than he normally is. So, then Vince McMahon is interrupted by The Big Show. He comes out, he wants Vince to overturn a decision from what happened on SmackDown, Alberto Del Rio winning the world title. He basically goes on to show the footage, and Vince McMahon says, I don't understand, how would I overturn that when you clearly lost the World Heavyweight Championship fair and square. Big Show says Booker T is jealous of him. Del Rio comes out, and he doesn't come out in a car, which I was surprised. He just comes out walking. And he's wearing these new tights that have the Mexican flag colors, and they actually looked pretty cool. He calls Big Show little and crybaby. Del Rio was really over with the fans in this segment. They were chanting C, 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 like yes, 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 only in Spanish. So Del Rio's actually getting over as a babyface, which I was hoping would happen, because, to be honest, I'm a fan of this. I don't mind Del Rio being a babyface. Del Rio challenges Big Show to a rematch for the World Heavyweight title tonight. Big Show says, I'm not going to do what you want to do. I want to have a match on my time for the World Heavyweight Championship. And he says he wants his rematch for the World Heavyweight Championship at the Royal Rumble. After, Ricardo Rodriguez pretends like he's going to throw a bucket of water on him. It's confetti. This makes the Big Show mad. He goes to attack Rodriguez. Del Rio attacks him, hits the Enziguri, and knocks Big Show out of the ring. Our first match of the night, we have Wade Barrett versus Randy Orton. This was a really good match. Both guys got in their, good moves. Barrett did the knees up against the ropes and the big boot. Orton hits, the DDT. They brawl outside the ring. Randy Orton goes for RKO a few times. It gets reversed, pushed away. But the shocking thing about this match, Wade Barrett actually beats Randy Orton clean. That just beats him clean, without cheating, with the bullhammer. Just hits him with the bullhammer, 1, 2, 3. Beats Orton clean, which I was pleasantly surprised, and this is good, because this is really going to make Wade Barrett look credible, which is awesome. I'm glad they're pushing Barrett this strongly now. Next, we have a backstage segment which is supposed to be pre-recorded earlier. That's what they say. It's Kane, Daniel Bryan backstage, waiting for Dr. Shelby because they're getting their, anger management, re-incest to see if they're okay. Dr. Shelby has a test for Kane Bryan. They ask each other, what do you like about one another? Kane, actually it's Bryan. For Bryan says, he likes how Kane's tall. He likes how Kane can put down his hands and make fire come out of nowhere. And Kane's a very good dancer. Kane says Bryan's a great athlete. He has a tremendous beard. And Bryan, he likes that Bryan isn't afraid of admitting that he sometimes wears women's clothing, which was also funny. Next, we have a match against Kane and Damian Sandow. This was a pretty quick match. Kane wins with the chokeslam. Nothing much to say here. That's pretty much it. Next, we get the announcement that we'll find out who the first inductee in the WWE Hall of Fame is. It turns out to be none other than Mick Foley, which is awesome. I like this. I mean, obviously, since they said whoever they're inducting in the Hall of Fame was going to come out, it couldn't be someone that's already dead. I was hoping they were going to announce something like the Macho Man was going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. That would have been cool. Someone like that. But hey, it is what it is. Mick Foley gets a cheap pop from the Houston crowd because, how he does the cheap pop. It's good to be here in Houston. And they cheer for him. He does a little cheap pop. But then, you hear the Shield's music. And the Shield comes out through the crowd. And they start to attack Mick Foley. While they're attacking Mick Foley, Ryback's music comes out, hits, and he comes out. Tries to fight off the Shield, but there's too many of them. They beat him down, But then Sheamus comes out. He tries to fight him off. They take Sheamus down and beat him down. But then, excuse me, Randy Orton comes out then and gets beat down. Then Sheamus comes out, and now the numbers game is like equal. And now they start taking advantage, starting taking out the Shield and stuff. And Ryback hits Shell Shock on Dean Ambrose. After the Shell Shock and all the beatdown happens, Ryback cuts a promo. He says he will not rest until he gets revenge and gets back at the Shield and takes them out one by one. Next, we have a Divas Championship match. The stipulation is if Eve tries to get disqualified or counted out, she'll lose the Divas Championship and it'll go to Caitlyn. So we have Eve versus Caitlyn. This was actually a decent Divas match. There was like a few good spots back and forth, good wrestling. Both Divas were hitting big moves, like their signatures. Eve hits her finisher and Caitlyn kicks out. But eventually Caitlyn ends up winning with a spear and becomes your new Divas champion, which was pretty awesome. I like Caitlyn. I prefer AJ as women's champion, or Divas champion, but you'll hear about her later. Oh boy. We have Punk versus Brodus Clay. Punk makes Brodus Clay tap out relatively quickly to the Anaconda Vice. He cuts a promo. He says, what the hell? I was trying to think what he says. He says to the extent of the crowd is allowed to cheer whoever they want, but it doesn't matter because Punk will still be your WWE champion. Over the top rope, like a preview to the Royal Rumble. You have all members of 3MB versus Sheamus. 3MB gets a little offense on Sheamus. Sheamus eliminates both Jinder Mahal and Drew McIntyre. But Heath Slater, with help from the other members of 3MB, actually eliminates Sheamus. So technically, 3MB actually wins this match, which was another shocker. Did not see that coming. I would have bet all the money in the world that Sheamus was going to win that match. And normally you would have been right, or I would too, but apparently they wanted trying to make 3MB look a little credible. Next, we have a Miz TV segment. Miz, before even it goes to commercial break, gives away who the special guest is by going woo and doing the strut down the ramp. And then they come back and Jerry Lawler says, "Gee, I wonder, I still don't know who the special guest could be." Really, you don't know after you gave that huge clue? You know, it's like so ridiculous. Of course, it ends up being Ric Flair. Flair puts over Miz, Miz puts over Flair. They start strutting around the ring, doing elbow drops on their coats. It was hilarious. Cesaro comes out, puts down Flair. Flair ends up beating up Cesaro. He's about to put the figure 4 on Cesaro, but lets the Miz do it, which was cool. Next we have Daniel Bryan versus Cody Rhodes. Another short match. Daniel Bryan makes Cody Rhodes tap out to the little bell lock relatively quickly. Next we have the Cena versus Ziggler steel cage match. Cena ends up winning. There's a few times where he was going to win and Big E Langston stopped Cena from winning. Big E Langston comes in the ring. He's brawling with Cena, and while this is going on, AJ climbs to the top of the cage like she's going to do something. She just stays up on the top of it, never comes into over the cage into the ring. She just stands on the ledge of it, looks down, and does nothing. Dolph Ziggler grabs his briefcase, goes to hit Cena. He hits Big E Langston. Cena I was about to say FU. Attitude adjustment. Gives it Ziggler attitude adjustment for the win. But overall, this was a good cage match. Before that, it was a back and forth good match. I believe Ziggler did a DDT off the very top of the turnbuckle. He jumped up and did a DDT, which looked really sick, you know. And also, Ziggler had the sleeper hold on Cena, and Cena started climbing the cage, and then passes out and falls all the way down onto the ground, which was another sick spot. We get the Rock concert, which is the main event, obviously, the last segment. Rock is really funny here. He starts doing jokes about Paul Heyman. He brings Vicky Guerrero out and starts singing an old rock song, and he twists the words and says Vicky looks like a ugly biatch tonight or something like that. It was really funny. He calls out Punk. Punk comes out. Rock says that Paul Heyman has twinking tits, which is funny. Rock says, as God is his witness, because you know how Punk made the statement, you're going to be boxing with God. Rock says, you're not God, but God is my witness. I will defeat you for the WWE Championship at Royal Rumble. Punk runs after him because he gets pissed off. They both brawl. All the referees and security break it up. The same old spot where one person jumps out of the security and attacks that person. That person breaks out of the security, jumps on over that person and attacks them. Same thing, breaks up, and pretty much that's how Raw ended. There were some really good moments on the Raw. Mick Foley being inducted in the Hall of Fame. The cage match was pretty good. Barrett, Randy was really good. The Rock concert was really funny. Overall, not an amazing Raw, but definitely better than last week. And I still think this was a really, really entertaining Raw. But that's it, guys. That is my Raw review. I'll see you later. Tomorrow I should be having the WWE main event review up, at least by tomorrow, maybe later tonight. So hopefully that's good. I know it's the main event, Cesaro versus Orton, which should be a good match. But I'll see you guys later. Don't forget to like the video down below, Subscribe down below. Comment your thoughts on this Raw and my Raw review. And see you later. Stay cool, stay rad, stay awesome. I will see you later, guys. Bye-bye.